And welcome to the March 13th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The following is the official agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Discussion and commission action will be limited to those items on the agenda. Any citizen who wishes to address the commission shall first be recognized by the chair and shall give his or her name for the record. If a citizen wishes to read any documentation of any sort to the commission, he or she shall first seek permission from the chair. Oral testimony will be restricted to no more than 3 minutes per person. Aislinn, will you call roll?
Eugene Bartu,
Here, and I don't have anything to disclose.
Crystal Chanda,
I made a site visit for agenda item number 3, and I have nothing else to disclose.
Whitney Fenwick,
Here, and I made a site visit to agenda item number 3 and number 4, and I will be recusing myself from agenda item number 5 due to a conflict of interest.
Roger Fry,
Here, and I made a site visit to agenda items number 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have nothing else.
Adam Geyer,
Here, I'll disclose that my personal property backs up to agenda number 4, but I have no bias towards this project. I have nothing else to disclose.
Rich Phillips,
Present with nothing to disclose.
All right, thank you.
Marjana Hewlett is excused this evening.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to approval of minutes. The commission may wish to waive the oral readings of the P and Z clarification and regular meeting minutes from February 14th, 2024, and to approve the minutes as written. Does anybody have any questions or noticed anything in those minutes? Nope. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
And a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Phillips and a second by Fry. Aislinn, will you call vote, please?
Phillips,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Bartu,
Yes.
Chanda,
Yes.
Fenwick,
Yes.
Geyer,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, we will move on to agenda item number 3, a public hearing for annexation, file 24-334. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a city-initiated annexation application to annex 33 acres more or less of land located along Craft Road and Gaethie Road. Before we start, I would like to explain the procedures. The application presentation is limited to 10 minutes. There is 3-minute limit on public testimony. Those presenting or testifying will state your name for the record. While giving testimonies, questions, and comments should be pertinent to the application and should only be addressed to the commission. During the public hearing, there should be no questions, comments, or applause from the audience. Should the meeting go longer than 8 p.m., the commission may take a scheduled 10-minute break. Commission members must make their decision regarding the application on the facts already in the record and information presented during the public hearing. Protocol requires that commission members and audience be recognized by the commission chair prior to speaking. So at this time, I will declare the public hearing open, and I would like to invite staff forward.
Commission Chair,
Yes.
will we be timing his presentation where it's the city?
No, not city, thank you.
Mine will be short, and then Jim will get up and complete some of the stuff. So Merrill Quayle, Pocatello Engineering Department. Just wanted to give some background on this annexation, and the reason why the city is doing it is that Craft and Gaethie North Main Extension, as if you guys have known, is an abnormally and less desirable intersection, and is currently all within the Bannock County maintenance jurisdiction. The city's had a desire to make improvements in this area as we can, because we know of, the grain trucks and everything that's going back into other parts of city property that comes through here. And in 2019, there was development that's going on, and we had the developer for his properties did a traffic impact study there, and it reaffirmed that intersection and the need for some improvements and fixing up that area. And so the city started looking at funding options. They did look at what they call a RAISE grant, and they submitted under the title North Portneuf Crossing. And in looking at as the federal government, the DOT, was looking at the grant monies and the projects that had come in, they were allocated $15 billion for these type of projects. And after reviewing the projects, everything that came in, they did award $2.26 billion through this program, of which Pocatello was one of 162 grant recipients nationwide that was able to get this grant. And we were secured $7.7 million to work with a signal and improvements and realigning Foothook Boulevard. So that is what has sparked that, in the collaboration of development that's gone in and going in, and changes that for that area with a public-private partnership. And then the community part of it is when they did the outreach and looking at the applications, they did look at how this would achieve better communities, livability, environmental stability, and the expansion and operation for multimodal movements, biking, walking, and so forth through there. So that is kind of the background. And then what got us here is that to complete this project and for the administration and moving forward, it is necessary for this area to be annexed and brought into the city of Pocatello so that we can complete with the grant process and move forward. So that is the end of my part of the presentation, and we'll have Jim come up.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. Jim Anglesey, Long Range Planner for the city. Before you is a city-initiated annexation request to annex and zone property along Craft Road and Gaithy Road. The subject land consists of 33 acres, more or less, which includes 20 parcels of privately owned land and 2 parcels of publicly owned land. 3 of the parcels are designated residential on the future land use map, as you see right here. And the remaining parcels are designated mixed use, as you see here in the pink color. The ones that are designated residential are proposed to be zoned residential medium density multifamily if annexed. And the remainder that are designated mixed use would be proposed to be zoned residential, commercial, professional. Both of those zones are in alignment with the future land use map designations. The annexation request is in statutory compliance with Idaho State Code, Section 50-222, as a Category B annexation, which allows annexation to take place in circumstances where the subject land contains less than 100 separate private ownerships and platted lots of record, and where not all such landowners have consented to annexation. As proposed, the subject property is within the area of city impact and lies contiguous to the city of Pocatello municipal boundary. The subject land includes property owners who have either provided written consent, implied consent, i.e. properties that are connected to a water or wastewater collection system operated by the city, or have provided no consent to annexation. Notice for the public hearing has met all state and local requirements. All affected property owners, as well as property owners within 300 feet of the external boundaries of land being considered for annexation, have been provided notice of the public hearing in order that they may provide comment on the proposed annexation. Also, in accordance with Idaho State Code, affected property owners have been provided more than 28 days notice of the proposed annexation and have been provided an annexation plan, as well as opportunity to provide comment on the proposal. No written comment from the public has been received by staff. We have received several phone calls in relation to this throughout the entire process. In consideration of the application, staff concludes that the proposed annexation request is compliant with Pocatello City Code. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
So could you please just reiterate that there has been no public comment that you've received that we haven't seen?
Yes, no written public comment.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the two different maps to clarify where the city lines is. It made it a little hard when we were looking with the proposed area on there. Appreciate that. Commission, any questions for staff, either Jim or Merrill?
Not this time.
I'm curious about the history of this can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Curious about the history of these properties that are contiguous to city property, but are technically in the county, although they look like they're on the city side of the city line. Was that, they were developed when it was county property and then just grandfathered into the county?
What property are you speaking of?
Well, I don't know if I'm looking at,
I think just because the property line, the city line is so crazy in that area, that's what.
okay, good enough for me.
Yeah, this pink line indicates the city municipal boundary.
Right.
And I don't know, it's definitely pre-me when this was established. I don't know when the current city line was created this way.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you have an estimate about how many of those properties are currently on city water and sewer? And how, I mean, percent, because I don't know how many total there are.
Merrill can speak to that more regarding hookup to utilities. I don't know exactly how much.
Okay.
He'd be the better one to speak on that.
There are currently 2
Okay,
at this time that is connected.
okay. Any other questions for Merrill or Jim? Nope, okay. So at this time, I will invite public testimony. Just really quick, when you come to the podium, please state your name. Remember, you're only addressing the commission, not the audience or the applicant. You will only have 3 minutes. We'll stop you. And make sure that your comments are pertinent to the application. And try not to cover anything that anybody else has covered. We'd like to get out of here by 8 instead of take a break at 8 if we can. Okay, so at this time, I would like to like to invite anybody providing testimony in support of the application to come forward. I would like to, in support.
My name's Brandon Hepworth, and we have the property on Craft Road from Gaethy, pretty much all along the proposed annexation. And for us, it really is a pragmatism. Our vehicles have been in multiple wrecks at that intersection, and it just never seems to get any better. The traffic picks up. The drivers seem to become less courteous every week, and for us, the ability for us to have enough land to put septic system in is becoming a challenge. In the trailer court, we've got a tank and cesspool for each row there, and for us to do any addition to that or any fixing to that, it's impractical and staying within the boundaries of the property. So we're left with not very many options, and I mean, unless we annex in. So for me, that's kind of the big deciding factor on why we chose to support the annexation. Is just, like I say, we're out of land, and there's not a ton of more options we can do unless we want to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just, what's your last name?
Hepworth?
Hepburn,
Hepworth.
Hepworth.
Anybody else providing support?
Good evening. My name is Julia Sanders. I live near that intersection, kind of up on the hill there, and I agree that it is problematic at best. It is dangerous at worst. I really think that the only reason that we haven't had any significant accidents there is because most of the residents and the visitors quickly learn to navigate that area with caution. And if annexing into the city is going to be the catalyst to fix that intersection, I am absolutely worth it. I look forward to seeing what those changes are going to be, but I also hope that in time when the developers move into their piece, that they remember the comprehensive plan and what the people have asked for there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in support? All right, at this time, I would like to invite anybody providing testimony uncommitted to the application.
Hello, I am Elaine Proxel Bailey, and I live at 8354 North Gathey. And can I pass out what I have? And
Yeah, your clock's going, so why don't you hand it to me and then I'll pass it on.
And I actually forgot a picture on there of my trailers. I'll be really quick. I'm non-committed because I'm one of the two that have city sewer. I do still have a well, and I would like to continue to use it. And I just wanted to make sure that my historical pre-existing non-conforming uses of the property be grandfathered in. I have a storage business, livestock, including poultry, swine, and horses, residential dwelling, and I park about 29 vehicles on the property that I get rent from. And I just want to make sure I continue to do that. I know that mixed use is pretty forgiving, but I also know that that's going to go into the RCP, which is, I feel like we might be breaking quite a few of those rules. And I just wanted to make sure that as long as I'm living there, that I get to continue to use the property the way I am. And if we sign up, are we going to be required to sign up to city services even if I still want to use my well? And if so, is that permit, the original permit, going to be waived? Because that's fairly expensive. That was my question to you.
Okay, thank you. I think I know the answers, but I know staff knows them better, so at the end of this, I'm going to ask staff those questions.
Okay, and then in the future too, if I wanted to build a garage or non-residential structure that involved a parcel determination, would that spur up any kind of,
If you're not in the county, you don't have to do a parcel determination, so.
so if I wouldn't have to split it, I guess, so I guess, okay, so there we go. I
Yeah,
just
you'd
wanted-
have to go through the
And
city
then would
for
we have
that.
to do this process again when that was changed? I know the future land use, that's the RCP, would we have to do this again? Do I have to prove what I'm doing again when we do that? Okay.
Well, I'll let staff answer.
Yeah, that's about it. I just want to make sure I get to keep my critters and I get to do my business.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else uncommitted that would like to provide testimony? All right, anybody opposed that would like to provide testimony?
My name is Haley Cowdell. I live at 8321 North Gathey. I do have some handouts. I'll hand them.
Thank you.
I am representing the revocable trust of my grandmother, June Elder. We would like to continue to use the property as we have developed it, and the new tax base would cause undue hardship to my grandmother. We want to establish that the historical, pre-existing, non-conforming uses of the property be grandfathered. Even if grandfathered, the value is in the selling of the business anyway. Self-storage, RV park, recreational vehicle site, animal-related business is not permitted in the RCP zoning. Although you have stated that we are going to be designated mixed use in the future, according to the future land use, it will become RCP. Mixed use is more forgiving than RCP, and we feel as this might be paving a way for our more restrictive zonings that wouldn't allow us to operate our business. We would not 100% determine the proper, we could not 100% determine the proper definition of our business based on your definitions in the city code. Our number one concern would be that Pocatello RV storage not only be allowed to continue, but we would have the ability to sell it in the future as such. Different members of the family, some of which do not live on site, manage and help with the business, and management will change in the future as time demands and everybody gets older. As far as the other items in the building for the storage occupy the percentage of the property and far exceed the square footage of the primary dwelling as in the accessory structure. The setbacks and the minimal space between the structures, height of fences might also not reflect current code. We also have more than one customer on the property at a time. There is a rental at 8321 with an agreement for purchase. That would involve splitting the business part of the parcel off the residential piece. This has long been in the works, but we are held up by litigation from the developers behind the property. There is a business, residential dwelling, a residential rental with livestock, and open parkings of 70-plus vehicles on these parcels. The family, mostly my grandparents, and myself included as a child, I can remember digging those holes for the building, have built up the Pocatello RV storage business for over the last 40 years. If we could not sell at least part of the storage business, their lives' work would be pretty much a waste and not be realized. Questions, when the mixed use is turned to commercial, residential, professional, would we need to do this all again? Kind of piggybacking off those questions. And we're currently on private septic. Would we be forced to sign up for the city services when we don't need them? And if so, would the permit fees be waived? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else opposed that would like to provide testimony? With that, I would like to invite the city to come back up. Probably both of you. Jim, can you speak to the existing uses and if those will be grandfathered in or how that plans to, you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. Any land that's annexed into the city, existing uses, structures will be grandfathered. Regardless if change in ownership, if that use is continuing, for example, the storage units, if they are annexed, they will continue to be used as, could be used as storage units. If they are sold to somebody else wanting to continue that use as storage units, they would still have that grandfathered right. The only time grandfathered rights will be lost is if they discontinue that use or they remove the structures. Then they would have to come into compliance of the city zone that it's assigned to. Any new structures that aren't there at the time of annexation would need to meet zoning regulations. So whether it's a home, garage, business, they would need to meet the residential, commercial, professional standards.
Can you speak to a subdivision that's already in process and is in litigation? I would assume it probably is dependent on where it's at in that process. But if applications have already been filed with the county to start that process, how is the city going to handle that?
Typically, if it's in the area of city impact, they will look to the city at least for input. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been anything delivered to the city in that way. So I'm not sure what's happening in the county regarding a subdivision in that area.
If somebody did want to talk to you about that outside of the meeting, would you be willing to talk to them?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I think the other questions are related to water and sewer, and can you address those for us, please, Merrill?
I can, Merrill Coyle with the engineering department. The comments as far as the cities will do the water and the sewer at the same time is that no, they will not be required to hook up at this time. However, if their septic does fail, it would still be through with the health department and that. And now they're in the city limits, the sewer is available. They would be required to tie on at the time of that system failure, and they would still have to pay those capacity fees and that, just like anybody else would at the time if their system fails. But it is not required to hook up. Same way with the water, the wells can continue to be used. However, if they do choose to come onto city water, they can still use their wells and not discontinue them for irrigation, but they will have to have the air gaps and protection in so that there's not cross connections. And then they would not be able to go back with the potable water from the house back to the well. Because once they make that transition, it locks it into the city and they don't go backwards. But they can still use the well for irrigation and so forth. So I would always encourage that if I had a well, I would encourage that. So that's what they are now with the utilities. I think that was the only question as I was writing down, and I think Jim has continued the rest. We will do some checking. I'm not sure. You know, there are some rules with animal control. I did hear for a second on the animals, but the city does allow with animal control certain amount of animals, and if they're bigger animals than that, if they fall into category and got the areas and got the neighbor signatures, I think is all it is. It's not a hearing or anything like that. It is the adjacent neighbors, and that is, and you've seen that in town already. There's those that already have that and bring that in, but there is a avenue to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for either Merrill or Jim?
This isn't a question, but I know this is probably going through everybody's mind. I would like to just, if the commission would allow me, to just give a little bit of a glimpse into the plan that is going forward.
That would be great.
Through here. I don't have any layouts or anything, but I can tell you the Foothill Boulevard that is right now, it's a two-way stop that's there now, and I know everybody's wondered, why did the city do that intersection? We thought this would be happening a lot sooner than there, but that road will continue, Foothill will continue. It will go up behind the storage units there, up across and across what Brandon Hepworth had, his property there, and then come back down and square up into Craft Road. Gaithy Road there would terminate into a cul-de-sac just north of the storage units at that time, so that intersection would not be placed there. Now, everything right now with the federal government, with this RAISE grant, we're still trying to lock in with all the rules. So it will be a design build. So as we design it, it'll be built at the time with a consultant and contractor on board. And at this time, we have, once we start and once those rules are solidified, which we hope will be here in the next few months, then that money is to be executed and done within 3 years. So the signal and the different amenities that was in the application and that, we will move forward. But it will probably take up to about 3 years to do it, just because of the way the funds are set up and the rules behind those funds.
Okay. Thank you.
3 years to start or 3 years to completion?
3 years to completion.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
I think this family articulated quite well that their concern is maintaining a livelihood and kind of the life that they've built for themselves over the years. One of the questions that was brought up is about taxes and how this would impact them. I was hoping maybe we could, if we can't speak to it right now, get them in touch with some folks that could talk to them about that, but also maybe talk a little bit about some of the benefits that they may receive through the annexation, as far as maybe trash collection or anything that they're not aware of at this point.
That is good. The trash collection would transfer over to the city of Pocatello. And everything that I've seen in the rate studies and that is that the prices that the city does in delivering for multiple reasons why the city does it themselves is cheaper. They're also, I know people would like to say, well, what happens, with private enterprise and so forth. But as the city finds that as we're the sole collectors too, we can clean up the messes. We know our own garbage trucks, other places in other communities, and doing some checking of why in preparation here is that they have issues with all the private contractors for garbage pickup and that. It's up to whoever's going to go out and clean it. They dump over their garbage cans and that, and they typically don't come back or a lot of times and stuff there, where I know our community tries real hard. If something happens, the drivers are supposed to stop, get out, clean up the mess and so forth. So there's one of the benefits. There would be fire and police within there. There might be some insurance incentives where it's full-time versus volunteer that way, and not the county sheriff. So you're in that jurisdiction that way. And then we did put together the plan, and I believe that part of that plan was set out, and I see you've got some of that that we did. So that kind of outlines some of that we could gather and get through the county. But the taxes are all based on county and on land use. So if it's already the land use, you're going to see some gives and some takes between utilities and between the taxes. I can't tell you exactly where that's going to balance out, but I do know that taxes at the county, I've asked this several times, the different things, it's based on land use and the improvements. So when you come in and start doing more improvements or you do anything like that, that's when your taxes start changing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to clarify one thing regarding the use of animals. I did speak with the city attorney regarding animals that are currently on the properties, and those are also part of grandfathered use. They can continue to use to have animals as they currently have.
Question, yeah. With the livestock, there's some people that bring in spring steers each year, raise them for the summer, butcher them. Would that type of a practice still be allowed? I mean, it's different animals each year.
If they're doing the same thing each year, if they have livestock on the property, it doesn't matter if it's a different animal or not. If they're using that property for that use, they can continue that.
Awesome, thank you.
Commission, any other questions? No, I would just like to thank you guys for coming out and sharing your thoughts. I think it helps us a lot also. Hopefully, you have a little bit, some warm fuzzies leaving here tonight, knowing the different things. I will say, and I know I'm on record, but I think other people in the same field as me will say the same thing. I would rather do a subdivision through the city right now than the county anyways. It's way easier right now. So with that, any discussion? Then I will entertain a motion. You need to tab those pages.
I'm just the second.
I would move to recommend approval of the annexation and zoning application from the city of Pocatello to annex and zone property located along Craft Road and Gaithy Road, finding the application meets the standards for approval under section 17.02.110 Pocatello City Code, and authorize the chair to sign findings of fact.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Fenwick and a second by Fry. Aislinn, will you call vote?
Fenwick,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Bartu,
Yes.
Chanda,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 4, which is a public hearing for preliminary plat file 24-368. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a preliminary plat application requested by Satterfield Realty and Development LLC, represented by Sunrise Engineering, to subdivide 23.52 acres, more or less, of land located east of Greenfield Meadows Division 5 subdivision and north of Crestview Division 4 subdivision, to be known as Greenfield Meadows Division 6, 7, and 8. So at this time, I will declare the public hearing open, and I would like to invite the applicant to come forward.
Ryan, will you give me just a second?
He was going to give you 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners. I'm Ryan Satterfield from Satterfield Realty and Development. Excited to come tonight and present to you our next 3 phases of development in the Greenfield Meadows area. We've been working through this development of Greenfield Meadows for a number of years. And now, as the city of Pocatello has kind of changed their preliminary plat code a little bit, allowing us to do more of a master phase plan with our plats rather than just individual phases. We decided to put forth 3 separate phases. First phase, which is Greenfield Meadows Division 6, that we plan to build this year and get going on it, and then 7 and 8 would then follow. All of these lots are in similar size as previous Greenfield Meadows lots were. We plan similar types of housing to go in there, and so nothing real different. There is, as we've done in previous phases as well, plan for stormwater retention through the north side of the development, through a series of ponds that connect into the larger municipal stormwater system. Through some discussions with staff prior to this meeting, I just wanted to bring forward that in the Public Works memorandum, we had a discussion about under development conditions number 1, water line connecting Greenfield Drive through to the intersection of Trevor Street. And it was decided, and staff can speak to this as well, that that wasn't necessary. So just wanted to bring that up to you from that discussion. But everything else in the memorandum and all other conditions we're in agreement with. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Can we have a picture on the,
I don't think he has a picture. It's just what's in our book, in our packet.
well, I was thinking about the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this one back here.
Commission, any questions for Ryan? I have a question for you. Are you really excited to come back here?
So excited.
okay,
I'm so
okay.
excited I'm not sitting
That you're not
there.
sitting here. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commission members. Matthew Lewis, Senior Planner with the city. As noted in the reading of the agenda, the request is for preliminary plat approval of subdivision to be known as Greenfield Meadows Division 6, 7, and 8. Proposed divisions entail the following. Division 6 covers 2.93 acres into 9 residential lots. Division 7 covers 10.7 acres, proposing to subdivide 25 residential lots and 1 stormwater lot. Division 8 covers 10.32 acres, proposing to subdivide 26 lots and 1 stormwater lot. The proposed property is generally east of Greenfield Meadows Division 5 and north of Crestview Estates Division 4. None of the subject parcels are located in a designated deer winter range nor have slopes in excess of 15%. Therefore, development is not subject to sensitive land standards and slope development standards.
All standards such as minimum lot size, excuse me, and applicable standards shall be met as part of the development. Municipal Code Section 1620.070 states that if the preliminary plat is phased, the preliminary plat shall expire 2 years following the date of approval of the final plat for the previous phase. All notification requirements have been satisfied, including noticing property owners within 300-foot radius of subject lands, notice published in the Idaho State Journal, and posted a sign on the property. Staff has not received any comments to date. Staff finds that the application is compliant with all applicable standards of City Code 16.20.050 with the 3 conditions attached in the staff report, with the exception, as Mr. Satterfield noted, to remove number 1 under development conditions. This concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commission, any questions?
I have a quick. Is any of this property border public land, or is there private property?
I don't think it's quite there.
Not quite there yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
And if it would, it'd be with Division 8, so.
okay.
No.
Just wondered.
Any questions? No? Rich, you good?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm only going to give you one reminder, and that's to state your name when you come up. If you break any rules, I'll remind you then. So at this time, I would like to invite anybody providing testimony in support of the application to come forward. Anyone uncommitted to come forward? And anyone opposed? Might be a tough rebuttal. Would you like to say anything? No? Okay. So with that, I will declare the public hearing closed. And Commission, how would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the preliminary plat application from Satterfield Realty and Development LLC for Greenfield Meadows Division 6, 7, and 8 preliminary plat subdivision, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of Pocatello Municipal Code with the conditions listed in the staff report, and to authorize the chair to sign the findings of fact and decision.
I second.
I would like to go back and clarify, both staff and the applicant has stated that they are in agreement for the removal of number 1 of the development condition. I would propose that we have a motion that includes that also, please.
Yes.
Whoever would like to do it.
Hold on.
I would like to include in the motion the new, to eliminate the new water line on Greenfield Drive as part of the motion.
Yep. Cool. I have a motion by Fry
I second.
and a second by Fenwick. Acewood, will you call vote, please? And let us know if you need anything clarified for your,
Got it?
okay.
Fry,
Yes.
Fenwick,
Yes.
Bartu,
Yes.
Chanda,
Yes.
Dyer,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Please give me a second to get to the correct location. We will now move on to agenda item number 5, which is a public hearing for preliminary plat, file 24255. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding a preliminary plat application request by 1324 East LLC, represented by Creek Hollow and Associates Incorporated, to subdivide 0.43 acres, more or less, of land into 5 residential lots located at 3634 Jason Avenue and east 1 188 feet of parcel. The subdivision will be known as Gates Way. At this time, I would like to declare the public hearing open and would invite the applicant to come forward.
You threw me off.
Good evening, Planning and Zoning Commission. My name's Chris Adams. I'm a, excuse me, surveyor here in town and owner of Creek Hall and Associates. And I'm here representing 1324 East LLC. And Clayton Holbrook, who is my point of contact from that organization. Keep it simple. If you will turn to the map that's in your packet, it's the copy of the preliminary plat. I'll address a couple things there. As it states in the packet, this is a 5-lot subdivision. It is adjoined or abuts Jason Avenue. And there is an existing home on Lot 1, and that will remain. And then we'll have lots 2 through 5 will be the remaining lots, and they'll be used for residential, most likely like a duplex type home. And there'll be a common drive or driveway that comes off of Jason Avenue, and that's on the north side of those lots. And north of those lots are some existing apartments, buildings that have been built by David Gates. And so that will be their access to come in and out of those residential lots. There's a 30-foot wide access easement along with a 20-foot wide utility easement. And the reason for the utility easement through there, when Gateway North to the east of this was developed, that developer, which is essentially the same group, just in a different entity name, they needed that route to connect their sewer. And so they worked with David Gates and achieved that easement. And so that sewer main has been installed as part of the Gateway North development. And then now these lots will have sewer connection through that sewer main. And then there's an additional, maybe hard to see, there's an additional 10-foot easement just north of that existing house that will be provided for the water services to be extended from Jason Street back to those lots. We'll look into the condition with the fire department as far as turnaround. We're gonna have to work through that. Just given the limitations and size of the area that we're gonna need to work through there. But other than that, any questions for me?
I have one question for you. Is that easement gonna have to extend longer so that that water easement goes through all the lots to get water to all of them?
Yes, potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably have, and I don't show it here, but we'll probably have to have a utility easement across the front of those lots for the service, water services, and probably even some dry utilities.
Okay, access to probably. Okay. Commission, any other questions?
Yeah. The lots 2 through 5, will they be single family, or you mentioned possibly duplex? Or
Yeah, so there'll be a single family dwelling. Duplex meaning that they'll have probably a common wall on 2 and 3 and a common wall between 4 and 5, if that makes sense.
So more of a condo type,
Or townhouse.
yeah, okay,
Okay.
Not a condo. I don't want to do a
Townhouse,
condominium
yeah,
plat.
okay.
Okay. I was just trying to see how many families could be possibly hooked to that sewer, along with all those coming in from the other property.
Yeah.
Did you have to do something with the sewer line in order to add all these other lots in? Or was the line big enough to begin with?
So when the sewer line was connected at Jason Street and extended through the David Gates property to the east, and then into the Gateway North development, which is to the east,
Right.
then it was sized accordingly to handle all of those residential homes. And so I believe that it's big enough to be able to handle these additional 4.
So you
Lots.
had all that in mind already? Because that's a lot of homes to be putting on one line running down a short driveway.
Yeah,
mean,
and that sewer main connects adjacent, like I've stated, goes east, and then it turns and actually continues through Lot 7 on this map, and then into Jasper Loop, and then continues north and around through that recent development that was they just finalized that, I think, last year.
Do you have a question? Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. All right, I think that's all. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite staff to come forward.
Again, good evening, Madam Chair, Commission members, Matthew Lewis with the city. As known in the reading of the agenda, the request is for preliminary plat approval of this subdivision be known as Gatesway subdivision. The proposed subdivision includes the existing house located at 3634 Jason Avenue and platting 4 additional lots entailing 0.31 acres more or less. Lot sizes range from 6752 for Lot 1 to 3,005 square feet for the remaining 4 lots. The applicant is desirous of utilizing the infill and redevelopment standards of Title 17 zoning regulations in order to meet the minimum lot size requirement, which is 3,000 square feet. Such standards are met as outlined under Section 17.05.300 with details provided in the staff report on page 2. Lot 1, Block 1 is addressed as 3634 Jason Avenue, is accessed from its existing driveway. As noted, lots 2 through 5, Block 1 will be accessed via a private drive. All notification requirements have been satisfied, including noticing property owners within 300-foot radius of the subject lands, notice published in the Idaho State Journal, and posting of a sign on the property. Staff has not received any comments to date. Staff finds that the application is compliant with all applicable standards of City Code 1620.050 with the 3 conditions attached as outlined in the staff report. This concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Commission, any questions for staff? No? Okay.
I guess, Chair.
Yeah.
Just a quick clarification. These easements, we've got a 20-foot utility easement and then a 10-foot, I guess, also utility easement for a total of 30 feet. Those have already been established, correct? We're not having to establish anything. Those were established for the construction of the,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, very good.
Now, on the added to his question, right now, the property will be owned by the same fella that owns both subdivisions. Now, down the road, is the easement gonna, imagine you're gonna have to have something in there that easement, if his property's split, they're still able to go through the
Easements go with the
Section
property,
next
not
to
the
the-
owner.
Well-
Easements stick with the property.
All this, the subdivision up on Jasper Loop, it's got the sewers coming down this driveway with that easement. So if someone was to split this and will sell the subdivision or whatever, that will go with the property. I mean, you won't lose it. You don't want to get landlocked, more or less.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, it's gonna be
deed to that
a
property.
utility access easement,
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
I mean,
yeah.
once it's installed,
Yeah,
I want to turn around and down the road decide I want to buy over here.
yeah, you can't landlock any property, so
So each, huh?
you wouldn't be able to landlock property, if that's what you're concerned with.
Well, how many lots are up there?
There's a road to them.
Well, I know, but
Are-
the sewer's
I think
got to
there's
run
20,
downhill.
27.
Okay, just a concern is if the property got split off, they got to leave the other folks attached to it.
Any other questions? No, okay, thank you. All right, so at this time, I will open it up for public comment. Please remember to state your name when you come forward. Anybody providing testimony in support of the application? Anyone uncommitted? Anyone opposed? Chris, you want to add anything? Okay. So at this time, I will declare the public hearing closed and open it up for discussion, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move to approve the preliminary plat application from 1324 East LLC, finding that the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 Pocatello Municipal Code, with the conditions listed in the staff report, and authorize the chair to sign the findings of fact and decision.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Fry and a second by Phillips. Aislinn, will you call vote, please?
Fry,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Bartu,
Yes.
Shanda,
Yes.
Guyer,
Yes. Yes.
All-
is that all pretty?
Thank you. All right, we will move on to agenda item number 6, a public hearing for preliminary plat file 23-3374. This time has been set aside for the commission to hear comments from the public regarding preliminary plat application request by Millennial Development, excuse me, Development Partners LLC and Smart Town LLC, represented by Creek Hollow and Associates, to subdivide 82.957 acres, more or less, of land into 17 commercial lots located east of Olympus Drive and south of Northgate Parkway. The subdivision will be known as Northgate Ridge. At this time, I will declare the public hearing open, and I would invite the applicant to come forward.
Good evening again. Chris Adams with Creek Hollow and Associates, and here representing Millennial Development Partners and Smart Town LLC for the Northgate Ridge subdivision. So as stated in your packet, there's 17 commercial lots. This is a large development that located east of Olympus Drive, east of Portneuf Health Trust building. And this is a property that's been owned by Millennial and Smart Town for quite a few years now. And we've seen, or I've seen, lots of different renditions and ideas up there, through there. Anyways, not much to add to this other than just, this is their proposed layout to continue the development going east. As you can see, that Northgate Parkway will continue east up the hillside. There will be some connection to continue south, or plans to continue south at Satterfield Drive. It doesn't show much further on the map, but there would be some future connection that would continue south and actually connect into the very north end of Satterfield Drive, which is right now at a gate that used to access, well, it does still access one of the Hart properties. And on the west side of the development, you can see Gold Star Drive. We have been visiting with Portland Health Trust and to be able to continue through their property with Gold Star Drive and make that connection out at Olympus. At the intersection of Olympus, when the road was built, there was a intersection built and already planned for that area, and there's sewer stubs that are stubbed into that area. So that's pretty important for this development because that's where they'll need to cross through and make their sewer connection. There's water lines on the north that come up through on the north side along Northgate Parkway that are already in place across the north end of Portland Health Trust. So there's water lines that are already headed that direction. I noticed in the packet, one of the conditions was to complete the water line from Satterfield. I know the developers are talking, Portland Development, Millennial Development. They're both been talking for quite some time and working to be able to bring that size, the large water line up through that route. And Portland Development owns that property that would allow Satterfield Drive to continue. So there's some joint discussion there to continue that water line to provide that service. Other than that, any questions?
Will you talk to me about, are we gonna have to be worried about slope up here and doing a slope analysis? And is that gonna restrict any construction on any of these lots? I didn't go up there and I'm trying to visualize like where the urgent care is. It's pretty flat right there.
It does have some slope to it. I would say probably more north to south, but not unreasonable.
Okay.
I don't know if we'd have to do a slope analysis on that, but there is some grade.
Okay.
It's not flat.
Okay.
Nothing up there is really flat in my book. So there are some consideration that will have to be taken for drainage, storm drainage, on-site for each lot, for sure. And as well as just, from lot to lot. The grade really starts to change on the south side. That, and the south property line chases along kind of right at the ridge, if you will. Then it drops and starts to drop a little more significantly as it comes into the property owned by Robert Hart. So not unreasonable, and I think can easily be engineered.
Okay. Commission, any questions? No. Okay, thank you. At
Thanks.
this time, I would invite staff to come forward.
Yeah, Jim's gonna help me navigate since he kind of brought that up. I thought we'd just look at it in that area, and we can put the slope. So you can see where the slopes are in that. That's
cool.
Most of the majority of the property is just pretty flat. So, it, it has some grade, but not to the extent that you're gonna have to have slope analysis.
Matt, what does the yellow represent? Greater than 15%?
That's less, that's gonna be 15% to, I think, 20, what is it? Let's see.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's very, very helpful. So again, Madam Chair, Commission members, Matthew Lewis. Thanks, Jim. As noted in the reading of the agenda, the request is for the preliminary plat approval of a subdivision to be known as Northgate Ridge subdivision. The proposal calls for the platting of 83 acres more or less into 17 commercial lots. The property is zoned commercial general. The primary access to the subdivision will be from extension of Northgate Parkway. New roadways will also consist of Silver Star Drive, which will extend east-west between Gold Star Drive and Satterfield Drive, intersecting with Northgate Parkway. It should be noted that Gold Star Drive will be extended to Olympus when the adjacent parcels are subdivided in the future. All notification requirements have been satisfied, including noticing property owners within 300-foot radius of adjacent lands. Notice published in the Idaho State Journal and posting a sign on the property. Staff received written testimony by Bob Hart at 4:14 p.m. this afternoon. Such was forwarded to the commission members for review and consideration. Staff does have hard copies available if you need those. Other than the latter, no other comments have been received. Staff finds that the application is compliant with all applicable standards of City Code 1620.050 with the three conditions attached as outlined in the staff report. This concludes my presentation. As you know, Merrill is here available for questions pertaining to Public Works. That concludes my presentation.
Commission, any questions for Matt?
I have one, Commission Chair. From the public comment we received this afternoon, there was a question about capabilities of the current water line that's there. I'm assuming that since it's made it this far into the process, city feels that it's adequate, but is there any reason to have any concerns about the water line that's currently serving the?
Not at this time, but I have Merrill ask or answer any questions to that.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
So Merrill Quell, the engineering department, yes, analysis has been done across the top there. We are asking for the 18-inch that goes across at the top, and then the 12 inches that feeds down below. That will allow for future to go to a tank or something as land develops. There more kind of as a transmission line at this point is what we've asked for and what has been laid out a few different times as an off-site water line and development there. It is sized for a 16 is what they said, is what they recommend. But the city of Pocatello, we anything new coming in, we try to stay with the standard size, more of the standard size. So we go in 8, 12, and then to 18, then 24, and so forth.
Do we need to make that a condition?
It's
already
already
in there? I
there.
didn't see it. but
It's
in here.
well, it's there where the Satterfield line has to. I don't remember which one it is, but the line across the top has to be there. The memo is correct, fire flows and so forth into the model. That line has to go in for this development to achieve there. The only thing that is not in the staff report that was in the memo that might be of a recommendation that I would suggest is maybe a midway road going to the south. It was the last comment, I think it was comment 4 that was on your, the public, that was given at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that one would probably be a good one. Everything else we already have covered in the staff report.
Where would that be located?
Yeah, I feel like there are midway roads.
A midway road that goes over to the south, to coming south, where there is not. The other road, as they propose, is there, but there's nothing that comes over to a south. So, for instance, like I think it's Hiskey over in the Satterfield, early Satterfield developments that comes off of Butte and Jerome. It's a street that is stubbed out to go into the future connection of now Venture Way, as that gets exposed to come up through there, and maybe there's an intersection there that would continue across the property to the south and then connect into this development and continue over for something like there, is what we're thinking. So it'd just be a stub out road going to the south
Would a
property.
road be feasible over those slopes?
It would have to come down and it'd have to go on an angle and up, but at least we would find a place and stub it out. And then that south development would be responsible to pick that up and to meet the grades up and around and over. It'd probably look something similar to, let's say, West Fremont over here, but with the current standards. But if the commission desires that, the staff does not have any objections to adding that if you'd like, and that can be pursued.
And it would just be a stub.
It would be just a stub to the property line.
Okay.
Like I said, it was something that we would, whether you recommend it or not, we will have a conversation with the developer and move forward as staff anyway, and do some evaluation on that too. So if you want to, like I said, make that a recommendation, that would be legitimate.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? I'm gonna write down a question I have for Chris before we start. Okay, thank you very much. So with that, we will open it up for public testimony. Don't forget to state your name, please. First, I would like to invite anybody in support of the application to come forward. Uncommitted? And opposed?
Eight years ago,
Will you state your name,
Robert
please?
Hart. 8 years ago, millennials showed up, Portland Development showed up with these grand plans for this north gate. It's been a long, slow process with lots of problems. I'm opposed to this unless 2 conditions are met. One is they put a stub street to the south. I would align it with the Hiskey stub street that's coming out of the Satterfield's addition, to where you would have a right of way for a road when that land is developed back to this business development. I think that's crucial. I don't like that clock. 2, something that's just come up since I made my comments. I go back a long time with the city of Pocatello, and things are promised and things are not done. This Gold Star Drive that needs to come across the Portland Medical ground to connect on to Olympus Drive. I believe that needs to be put in as part of this subdivision now, not promised for some future date that who knows when it'll ever happen, to get better access to this whole business subdivision. Got a minute, 16 seconds. My original comments was on the water line coming across the top from Satterfield Drive and over and down. I firmly believe that water line, at least across the top, needs to be 18 inches to provide for the future development of that east bench. Wastewater, apparently that's been looked at, and they're going to come down that Gold Star Drive and connect onto the sewer system in Olympus Drive, come down to the little Pocatello Creek drainage, and the sewage line is there to take it down to the pumping station, to bring it back across the bench, to eventually get it out to the city of Pocatello's treatment plant. Stormwater runoff, the city of Pocatello, when they first built the Satterfield subdivisions, you weren't even born, Ryan. They didn't put any stormwater runoff up there. There needs to be stormwater runoff up here. There needs to be retention basins with percolation capability. There needs to be some overflow emergency capability to go into a line somewhere to get it down to Olympus Drive. And there's a stormwater line there.
Your time's up, sir. Thank you. We have all read your letter also. Thank you. Anybody else opposed? All right, with that, I would invite Chris to come back up. Well, I have a question for you. So I was thinking about stormwater. Of course, all of the individual lots are going to be required to keep stormwater on their own lots. Did you mention at the beginning that there were certain lots that you thought were going to be just for stormwater? Or I am confusing agenda items?
No, not to my knowledge, that there are not any lots that are designated specifically for a stormwater lot,
Okay.
at least at this point.
Okay. So I was just curious because my next question is, so we're talking about this connectivity to go south.
Yeah.
And I guess I know how hard it is to plan out a subdivision and get everything to fit and to make your clients happy. What are your first thoughts about trying to make a road fit in here, stub to the south?
You know, I think it's probably a feasible option. Where we are up on the top, if you'll look at the map behind me, because I'm looking at the one behind you, at that location is feasible. From that point down, we would have quite a bit of a drop in grade. So I think that we'd have to definitely consider that. There is quite a difference in elevation between the two properties. And so it's something that we can take into consideration and look at that option. On our side, it's easy to put it there. On the property to the south, for them to connect to, maybe a more challenging feat for them. So something that maybe need to be talked about between the two landowners to see what maybe they have in mind for their development or future of their property, because that we'd have to consider both routes or options there, because there is a difference in grade considerably there. I've walked that property many times. I laid out the fence when they installed the fence and when they first bought the property. And so I am somewhat familiar with that elevation change. Anything's possible. if you have the money and the drive to build it, right? So that would be the driving force in all of that. So
Did you have anything else you wanted to say? And then I wanted to see if the commission had any questions for you also.
I might be, and Merrill may be able to help me recall this, hopefully. That when the Northgate area was master planned, if you will, and thought through, the ravines that travel from west of Olympus are there to collect some storm water and hold some of that storm retention. I do not know when the civil engineer that designed and laid out a lot of this, if he took some of that area into consideration of this property that we're looking at tonight, that some of their stormwater can be captured and collected across Olympus and collected there. I don't know. But regardless of that, those commercial lots are fairly good size. And so there can be underground infiltration systems put in to help mitigate and collect their stormwater on their individual sites. And then obviously the storm through the streets. So definitely a concern, definitely something that will have to be addressed in our days forward.
Commission, any other questions for the applicant? No? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Merrill, please.
Trying to get done before 8 o'clock, so we don't have to take a 10-minute break.
We're not taking a break. We're going to get done.
Just to, and as Chris made mention, the developing engineer on this site too with the stormwater, I'd just like to point out on one of the plans that kind of was omitted from your packet as you were talking about, there is, in one of our conditions, we are asking, there is a retainage pond that is right there in the the corner. Here's Olympus right here. Sorry for here. And then the right here is right here in the corner. There's a pond for the road. So on lot 1, that's the 1.697 acres. We are asking that pond to be on its own lot. So there will be an additional lot when this goes to the city council, because we'd want that on an individual lot and dedicated to the city where that's for the road. And then there is the 18-inch stormwater piping that comes up through the development all the way almost to the Satterfield Drive. We're probably 200 feet shy of getting all the way to the top of Satterfield Drive. And so the system's there. The individual lots would take care of a portion of their stormwater and do all their treating of the stormwater. The rest of the system has been designed, and the ponds down below on the west side of Olympus to take a big portion of that water after it's been detained and treated. And then one other option, I said, for Fremont, West Fremont Road, kind of coming off there. The other options and I know that's not the best desired, but it's going to be in the future, and someone else will be making those decisions and that. But there is the options for fill and then passing the historic flows and so forth of Little Pocatello Creek. So whoever chooses to develop, if we stub a road out, there are those type of options also.
Anybody have any questions for Merrill? All right, with that, I declare the public hearing closed. I just want to say, commission-wise, I understand the need for a road. I would have a hard time saying tonight where exactly that road needs to go. It's so tricky. So I would say if there were to be a condition, it would be that that location be worked out before the final plat of this, but we shouldn't decide where that road stops. I don't want to be responsible for that. Any other thoughts?
I agree.
With that, I'd entertain a motion.
You've been so good at
You
it.
guys are killing me. I move to approve the preliminary plat application from Millennial Development Partners, excuse me, and Smart Town LLC for the Northgate Ridge subdivision, finding that the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of Pocatello Municipal Code, with the conditions listed in the staff report, and also the additional sub-south that we won't pinpoint tonight, but that will be part of the
Final plat.
final plat, thank you. And to authorize the chair to sign the findings of fact and decision.
I second.
I have a motion by Fry and a second by Guyer. Aislinn, do you have questions before you call a vote? Oh, awesome. All right, will you call vote, please?
Guyer,
Yes.
Fry, sorry,
Yes.
Bartu,
Yes.
Kanda,
Yes.
Fenwick,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And with that, the commission meeting is closed.